Hey everyone, and welcome back to Love Hackers.
I'm Sophie Tanaka.
I'm Alex Carter, and we're your guides to navigating the dating world.
That's right.
And today,
Going deep?
we are diving deep into a topic that can really make or break a connection.
Yeah.
Physical touch.
Ooh.
Specifically, how touch can create attraction.
All right. So we're going to explore the psychology behind it, where to touch and what it communicates.
But first, I think we should address the elephant in the room.
Okay.
You might be thinking, isn't this a bit manipulative?
Yeah, that's a fair point. But think of it this way.
Good.
Touch is a language. And like any language, you can use it clumsily or eloquently.
Yeah.
We're here to help you become fluent in the language of touch, so you can express your attraction authentically and respectfully.
I like that, yeah.
Exactly. And here's a surprising fact to kick things off.
Okay.
Even casual, intimate touching has health benefits.
Really?
Like, we're talking lowered heart rate, reduced stress.
Huh?
It's like a mini spa day for both people involved.
So basically, everyone wins with a little bit of touch.
Exactly.
Okay. I already feel better about today's topic.
Good.
But Sophie, you always remind us that intimate touching is about way more than just, the end goal.
Absolutely. It's about building comfort and connection,
Right.
creating that sense of intimacy that goes beyond just the physical.
Right.
Think about cuddling, for instance.
Yeah.
It's a way to show affection and feel close without necessarily being sexual.
Yeah.
And honestly, a lot of guys miss out on exploring all the amazing erogenous zones
Oh, yeah.
women have,
For sure.
which honestly leads to a less satisfying experience for both people.
For both people. Yeah, you're right. And that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive.
Yes.
To uncover those touch points and what makes them so powerful.
Absolutely.
So let's jump right in with
Okay.
our first spot,
All right.
the back.
Okay. So picture this, a gentle touch on the upper back. It's a gesture of support. Yeah.
And reassurance.
Okay.
Like you're literally saying, I've got your back.
Right.
It can make someone feel safe
Yeah.
and cared for.
Okay. Like a reassuring pat after a tough day.
Exactly.
But I was reading, and it said that touching the lower back
Oh, yes.
sends a totally different message.
It does. The lower back is generally considered a more sensual area.
Okay.
So touching it can be interpreted as a sign of physical attraction.
Gotcha.
If you're just trying to build comfort and connection early on,
Yeah.
stick with the upper back.
Okay.
It's a safe bet that won't be misinterpreted.
Upper back, safe, supportive.
Yes.
Lower back, proceed with caution.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right, moving on to a part of the body with a lot of history.
Ooh.
Hands.
Hands. Okay.
Think back to ancient Greece for a second.
Okay.
People used to shake hands to prove they weren't carrying weapons.
Oh, wow.
It was a way to show
Yeah.
they could be trusted.
Interesting.
So hand-holding has always been about more than just physical contact.
Right.
It's about establishing trust and connection.
Exactly.
Signaling, hey, I'm not a threat.
Right. And that's still relevant today.
Okay?
Holding a woman's hand, especially in public, shows you're proud to be with her,
Yeah.
that you're not afraid to display affection.
Mhm.
It's a powerful gesture that can really make her feel special.
It's like you're putting your connection out there for the world to see.
Yeah.
Okay, let's turn up the heat a little
Right.
with our next spot, her neck.
Ooh. The neck is incredibly sensitive.
Yeah?
And gentle kisses or even light touches there
Mm-hmm.
can be incredibly arousing.
Right.
The article specifically mentions the nape of the neck as a hot spot
Mm-hmm.
because it's packed with nerve endings.
Now, I'm no stranger to a good makeout session,
Of course.
but they were saying that prolonged kissing on the lips
Yeah.
can get a bit, well, monotonous.
It can.
So exploring other areas like the neck can add some spice to the mix.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to mix things up a bit.
Okay.
A little variety can go a long way.
All right. Duly noted.
Good.
Variety is the spice of life, and apparently necks too.
That's right.
Now, onto a spot that might seem more platonic. Her arms.
Don't underestimate the power of a gentle touch on the arm.
Really?
There was actually a study
Okay.
that found women were more likely to agree to dance with a man if he touched her arm while asking. They were even more likely to give him their number.
So a simple touch on the arm can actually increase your chances of success.
It can.
What do you think that is?
I think that goes back to that idea of establishing connection and trust.
Okay.
A light touch on the arm is a non-threatening way to break the touch barrier
Yeah.
and create a sense of familiarity. It's
Yeah.
like a subtle way of saying, hey, I'm comfortable being close to you.
Right.
And that can make a woman feel more comfortable around you, too.
That makes sense. Okay,
Right.
time to appreciate the lady's hard work, her legs.
Right. Women put a lot of effort into looking good.
For sure.
And it feels good to be appreciated. Yeah. So take the time to genuinely compliment her legs. And don't be afraid to be specific.
Right.
Tell her you love how soft her skin is or how amazing her legs look in that dress.
Right.
It's a simple gesture that can make her feel incredibly sexy and confident.
Okay, so be specific and genuine with the compliments. Get it now for a spot that's all about relaxation and pampering her feet.
There's just something incredibly sensual and relaxing about a good foot massage.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great way to show a woman that you care about her and want to make her feel good.
Right.
Plus, the feet are full of nerve endings.
Yeah.
So a good foot massage can be incredibly pleasurable.
They even give detailed instructions on how to give the ultimate foot massage.
They do.
With warm water, essential oils, the whole 9 yards.
It's a fantastic way to build intimacy and connection.
Okay.
And it can even lead to some fun in the bedroom.
Foot massage check now for a spot that's all about showing a bit of, shall we say, assertiveness. Her waist.
Touching a woman's waist can be a subtle way to show that you're attracted to her.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable taking the lead.
Okay.
But always, always, always pay attention to her body language
Mm,
and make sure she's comfortable with your touch.
of course.
It's all about finding that balance between confidence and respect.
Confidence and respect, 2 key ingredients in any successful interaction.
Okay, this next spot is definitely getting into more intimate territory, her inner thighs.
Touching this area can be incredibly pleasurable,
Yeah,
but only if both partners are enjoying it.
right.
Always communicate.
Okay,
Be mindful of her reactions and never pressure her into anything she's not comfortable with.
absolutely. Consent and communication are non-negotiable, especially when exploring more sensitive areas. Now, let's move to a spot known for its sensitivity behind the ear.
The skin behind the ear is very thin, which makes it particularly sensitive.
Okay.
And it's located close to the vagus nerve,
Mm-hmm.
which plays a key role in stimulating sexual desire. So there's actual science behind why whispering in someone's ear can be such a turn-on.
Exactly, and gentle touches behind the ear can be just as effective.
Okay.
Try softly tracing the outline of her ear with your finger,
Mhm.
or lightly brushing her hair behind her ear.
Okay.
It's a subtle and sensual gesture.
Another one for the repertoire now for a spot. The article describes as a small but mighty erogenous zone, the vaginal margin.
This area is incredibly delicate and sensitive, so it's important to be extremely gentle and respectful.
Yeah.
Light touches and feather-light kisses can be incredibly pleasurable.
Okay.
But as always, make sure your partner is comfortable and enjoying the sensation.
Of course.
Communication is crucial.
Definitely, communication is key in every aspect of a relationship, but especially when exploring intimate areas.
Mm.
Now, let's move on to a spot that can be a bit polarizing, her stomach.
Some women love having their stomachs touched while others find it uncomfortable.
Okay.
The key is to start slowly and pay attention to her reactions.
Gotcha.
You can try gently tracing her stomach with your fingers
Mm-hmm.
or lightly kissing her lower belly.
Okay.
If she responds positively, you can gradually increase the pressure and intensity of your touch.
Yeah.
But if she seems hesitant or uncomfortable, back off immediately.
It's all about reading the signals and respecting her comfort level. Okay, on to our last spot, and one that's definitely not for the faint of heart, her butt.
Again, it all comes down to communication and consent.
Right.
The butt is a highly sensitive area,
Mm-hmm.
and it's important to make sure your partner is completely comfortable with any kind of touch there.
Yeah.
Start with subtle gestures like a light squeeze
Okay.
or a gentle caress
Gotcha.
and see how she responds.
Right.
If she's into it, you can gradually escalate things,
Right.
but always prioritize her comfort and pleasure above your own.
That's fantastic advice, and it's a great reminder that consent and communication are essential in every aspect of intimacy. So we've covered all 12 spots, but the article goes on to talk about a challenge many men face when it comes to touch shame.
Sexual shame can be a major obstacle to building healthy relationships.
Yeah.
It can make us afraid to express our desires,
Mm-hmm.
to be vulnerable, and to even touch someone in a way that feels good.
Right.
So it's important to address this shame
Yeah.
and work towards overcoming it.
Absolutely. And they were talking about how this shame can manifest in our beliefs about women and touch.
Yes.
Like, we might believe that women don't want to be hit on,
Mm-hmm.
that they don't like being touched.
Right.
I think a lot of guys out there, myself included, can probably relate to those feelings.
I think it's more common than we realize.
Yeah.
These beliefs can come from our upbringing, our
Hmm.
culture,
Yeah.
past experiences,
Right.
and even just the messages we get from the media.
Of course.
And they can be incredibly damaging,
Yeah.
preventing us from being confident and assertive in our interactions with women.
So how do we start to challenge these beliefs
Right.
and overcome this shame?
That's the big question.
They mentioned this guy in the article who gets laid regularly because he's super aggressive
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
and basically grabs women without asking. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's the best example to follow.
You're absolutely right. That kind of behavior is completely unacceptable.
Right.
It's disrespectful, and it can be incredibly harmful.
Okay, good. I'm glad we cleared that up.
The article does go on to say that this guy's approach is polarizing and controversial,
Yeah,
and that some people will think he's a creep.
exactly. And that's exactly the point.
Right.
We don't want to be creeps.
No.
We want to be respectful, confident,
Yes,
and attractive men who know how to touch women in a way that feels good for both people.
absolutely.
Okay, so what is the right way to approach touch and build confidence in this area?
Right.
They were talking about our emotional realities,
Yeah.
and specifically the work of psychologist Robert Glover.
Robert Glover argues that absent fathers can contribute to men becoming Mr. Nice Guy types
Mm-hmm.
who constantly fail to assert their needs.
Okay.
And they talk about how the Industrial Revolution
Yeah.
led to a separation between fathers and sons,
Right.
which may have contributed to a generation of men with, as they put it, mummy issues.
So how do these societal and familial factors play into our challenges with touch and intimacy?
It's complex,
Yeah.
but essentially, when men don't have strong, healthy male role models in their lives,
Right.
they can struggle to develop a secure sense of masculinity.
Okay.
This can lead to a fear of assertiveness,
Hmm.
a need to please everyone,
Yeah.
and a difficulty setting boundaries.
Right.
And all of these things can make it incredibly challenging to be confident and comfortable with touch and intimacy.
That makes a lot of sense. So how do we start to address these deep-seated issues and develop a healthier, more confident approach
Right.
to touch and intimacy?
It's an inward journey.
Okay.
It's about understanding where our beliefs and behaviors come from,
Hmm.
challenging those that aren't serving us,
Yeah.
and learning new ways of interacting with women
Right.
that are both respectful and attractive.
So we need to do some soul searching before we can even think about touching someone else.
Exactly.
It's about getting real with ourselves and doing the inner work to become more confident and comfortable in our own skin.
Absolutely. And once you've done that work,
Okay.
you can start to focus on the practical strategies
Right.
for using touch to create connection and
Yeah.
build attraction.
Well, that sounds like a perfect place to pause for now.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground,
We have.
from the psychology of touch to the societal factors that can influence our comfort levels.
Right. And in part 2, we'll get into the nitty-gritty
Yes.
of how to actually use touch to create attraction,
Okay.
covering both indirect and direct escalation techniques.
Stay tuned for that. We'll be back after a short break.
See you soon. Welcome back to Love Hackers.
All right, so we're back.
We're diving deeper into the art of touch
Okay.
and how it can help you build attraction with women.
Yes.
Before the break, we were talking about addressing any shame or limiting beliefs you might have around touch and sexuality.
All right, getting real with ourselves and doing that inner work
Yeah.
is so key to becoming more confident and comfortable with touch.
It really is. And once you've done that work, you can start focusing on the practical strategies.
So let's get practical, Sophie.
Okay.
Where do we even begin?
Well, the article talks about the importance of projection, meaning how you carry yourself.
Right.
It's about showing up as a potential partner, not just some random guy.
So no more slouching in the corner hoping no one notices me.
Exactly. Stand tall, make eye contact, and don't be afraid to take up space.
Mm-hmm.
Show her you're comfortable in your own skin.
Okay.
The article even suggests being a bit more confrontational with your body language. No, I don't mean being aggressive,
All right.
but more like really squaring up to her, looking deep into her eyes when you're talking.
I can see how that would project a more competent masculine energy.
Yeah.
It's like you're saying, I'm here, I'm present, and I'm interested. But once you've got the body language down, how do you actually start incorporating touch?
Well, there are two main approaches.
Okay.
Indirect and direct escalation.
Right.
Some guys are naturally more comfortable with a direct approach, while others prefer to take things slower.
Yeah, let's break down each approach.
Okay.
First up, indirect escalation.
Right.
What does that look like?
Think subtle touches that build rapport and familiarity.
Okay.
handshakes, shoulder taps, light touches on the arm or elbow.
Okay.
You're using these to punctuate your sentences.
Right.
Your jokes, like you make a funny comment
Yeah.
and you lightly tap her elbow.
Yeah.
It's playful
Okay.
and creates a connection.
So it's about finding those little moments to make physical contact without being too forward.
Right.
Almost like you're testing the waters.
Yes. And the key is to combine those touches with what the article calls the push-pull dynamic.
The push-pull dynamic.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's about creating a bit of playful tension.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Can you give me an example of how the push-pull dynamic works?
Sure. Imagine you're on a date.
Okay.
And things are going well.
Hmm.
You could give her a playful hug, like a good friend would,
Okay.
and hold it just a second longer than usual.
Oh, I see.
Or you're walking side by side and you gently bump her shoulder with yours. It's about creating those moments of closeness and then pulling back, keeping her guessing a little.
Okay. I can see how that could work.
Yeah.
It's not about playing games,
Right.
but it keeps things interesting and helps you gauge her interest.
Exactly. Now, direct escalation is a bit more straightforward.
Okay.
It's about expressing your interest directly.
Yeah.
Through touch and seeing how she responds.
Okay. When is direct escalation a good option?
It's best when you're already feeling a strong connection and want to move things forward. For
Okay.
example, you're on a date.
Yeah.
Things are going great. You tell her she looks beautiful and you lean in for a kiss.
Okay.
It's bold. It's confident.
Yeah.
But it's also respectful because you're reading the situation and her cues.
Okay. Direct escalation is for when the vibes are already strong.
Yes.
But even then, the article emphasizes consent.
Right.
They make a point of saying that verbalizing every touch is awkward
Oh, yeah.
and kills the mood.
It does.
You know, can I hold your hand now?
Right. You don't need to ask permission for every touch.
Okay.
But you should always be paying attention to her body language.
Right.
If she's leaning in, reciprocating your touch,
Yeah.
that's a green light to keep going.
Okay.
But if she pulls away or seems uncomfortable, back off immediately.
Got it. Be confident, but not creepy.
Exactly.
So we've talked about indirect and direct escalation, but
Mhm.
is there a particular touch point that signals things are moving in the right direction?
The article calls it the comfort point.
Okay.
And they say holding hands is often a good indicator of where things stand.
Right.
Once you're comfortably holding hands, it's usually a sign that she's open to more physical intimacy.
Okay, so hand-holding is the gateway to further exploration.
It is.
But how do you even initiate hand-holding without it feeling awkward?
It's about finding those natural opportunities.
Okay.
Maybe you're leading her through a crowded bar or you're about to cross the street.
Right.
You reach out, take her hand and see how she responds. If she doesn't pull away, that's a good sign.
So no more sweaty palms or overthinking it, just go for it.
Exactly. Now, here's something really important the article highlights.
Okay.
It's usually up to the guy to make the first move.
Really?
They say women rarely take on the full responsibility for moving things forward physically.
So no more waiting for her to make the first move.
Right.
It's about taking the reins and showing her what you want.
Exactly.
Okay.
Of course, it doesn't mean being pushy or aggressive.
Right.
It's about being assertive in a way that's respectful and mindful of her boundaries.
Confidence, respect, and paying attention to her cues. Those seem to be the recurring themes here.
They really are.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's about having fun. The touch shouldn't feel like a chore.
Right.
It should be a natural and enjoyable way to connect.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this section.
You have?
We talked about projecting confidence through body language, the different approaches to escalation,
Yes.
and the importance of taking the lead while respecting her boundaries.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And in the final part, we'll wrap things up by discussing how to put all this into practice and develop a more embodied and confident approach to touch in all areas of your life.
Okay. Sounds good.
So stay tuned for that. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Love Hackers.
We've been unpacking the power of touch and how it can help you create real connections with women.
We talked about the psychology, the specific touch points, even how our past experiences can affect our comfort levels.
There's a lot to take in.
And now it's time to bring it all together and talk about how to actually put this knowledge into practice. No more theory. Sophie, let's get down to brass tacks. How do we actually become more comfortable and confident with touch?
Well, the article emphasizes taking responsibility. Not in a controlling way,
Right.
but in recognizing that women often won't be the ones to initiate those key moments of physical connection.
They literally say she'll never assume the responsibility of moving the interaction forward.
Yeah,
Wow, that's kind of a wake-up call.
it is. It means the ball is in our court, guys.
Okay.
We need to be the ones to put our arm around her shoulder, to take her hand and lead her to the dance floor to go in for the kiss.
That's pretty direct. It sounds a little intimidating if you're not used to taking the lead.
I get it, but it's also incredibly empowering.
Yeah.
It means you have the power to create the connection you want. You don't have to wait for permission or green light. You can take the initiative and make things happen.
Right, of course, still being respectful.
Always respectful.
But how do you strike that balance between taking the lead and not being pushy or disrespectful?
It always comes back to those core principles we've been talking about: confidence, respect, and communication. You need to be confident in yourself and your intentions, respectful of her boundaries always, and constantly paying attention to her cues.
So if she's pulling away or seems uncomfortable, you back off immediately.
Exactly. But if she's leaning and reciprocating your touch, that's a good sign that you can keep going.
Okay.
It's a dance, not a dictatorship.
I like that analogy of dance because it should be enjoyable, right?
Exactly. Touch shouldn't feel like a chore or a test. It should be a natural and pleasurable way to connect with someone.
Yeah,
If you're feeling tense or awkward, she'll probably pick up on that energy.
that makes sense. So even if you're following all the rules we've talked about, if you're not genuinely enjoying the interaction, it's not going to work.
Right. It's like trying to fake a laugh. It just comes across as inauthentic.
Okay, so what about those of us who are still working through that shame or insecurity around touch? Any tips for overcoming those hurdles?
The article suggests starting small, even in non-romantic situations. Give hugs to your friends, high fives, pats on the back. It might feel weird at first, but the more you practice, the more comfortable you'll become.
So it's like building a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And eventually that comfort with touch will start to spill over into your romantic interactions.
That's the idea. It's about expanding your comfort zone little by little.
I love that. So to wrap things up, what's one key takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with today, Sophie?
Touch is a powerful tool for building connection, creating intimacy, and expressing attraction, but it's a tool that requires skill and awareness. Be confident, be respectful, be communicative, and most importantly, be present and enjoy the journey.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Go forth and touch responsibly, everyone. And that's a wrap on another deep dive with Love Hackers. I'm Alex Carter.
And I'm Sophie Tanaka.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this episode with your friends. We'll see you next time.